she grabbed onto Keir's back, pressing against him, and a weaker man would have ended up face down in the snow. Backing slowly, Keir kept the advancing beast before him. "You're going in the tree," he said over the wind. "What?" the woman asked, but there wasn't time to explain. With a swift glance over his shoulder, he turned and lifted the woman onto a branch above his head. Snow tumbled off the branch, momentarily blinding him as she scrambled. Her boots kicked, and fighting the slippery branches, she stood to balance on the thick extension. A growl broke through the shrill of the tempest, and fire bit into Keir's thigh. "Mochria!" He swung his fist backward, making contact with the wolf's snout. It released his leg, shaking its massive head. It hunched down to spring at him. "Dinna make me kill ye," he said low, and slipped his sword free. The familiar feel of it, heavy in his hand, overrode the deep ache from the bite. Koga, the smell of blood familiar to him, shrieked into the wind as he charged forward, his forelegs stomping down in force. The second wolf turned in time to gnash his teeth against the horse's leg. Koga, a born warrior, raised his front legs, bringing them down on the wolf's back end. With a yelp, the animal rolled and sprang up, limping as he trotted in retreat around the corner of the cliff. Keir yelled and sliced the air with his sword before the remaining wolf's face. "Watch out!" the woman called, and crack! Something hit the back of Keir's head. "Sard!" he cursed, and looked down to see a dagger in the snow, a throbbing in his head now joining with a throbbing in his thigh. Luckily, the wolf was losing its courage as Keir's horse continued to stamp and paw the ground next to him. With one last glance, the beast dodged out into the continuing blizzard, hopefully to burrow back into its cozy den. Keir turned to the tree. The branch creaked overhead with the woman balanced on it, clinging to the trunk. "I'm sorry, I meant to hit the wolf." Wind gusted against them, blowing the woman's skirts about her legs as the branch swayed, creaking. "You were bit," she yelled down. "I'm a healer." A healer? Was she from Kilchoan or Aros? He wouldn't have left her stranded in a tree regardless, but if she could be of help to his nephew, he wasn't going anywhere without her. Keir stood below. Perhaps good fortune had called him to her. "Sit on the branch and lower down." The woman continued to cling to the tree. "Let go," he said. "I will. She said. I hate this. Cold wolves, being up on a tree." "Sit, woman," he said. With painstakingly slow movements, she bent down, still gripping the thick trunk, until she sat on the limb. I think I'll fall," she said as the limb shook and cracked in the wind. He moved under her. "I'll catch ye." A gust blew up over the rock wall, slicing down to hit the tree as the woman slid out farther away from the trunk, preparing to drop down. "Good Lord!" she yelled as the branch let out a snap and crack, breaking. Pain shattered the white scene before Keir as the heavy limb slammed the side of his head. His last thought of the woman with large blue eyes was that good fortune had absolutely nothing to do with her. Then all went black.